Take a quick kessel.
Oh, that's fair enough. I've turned on the live stream now, so just
Come in and
awaiting.
spectate me if you want.
Yeah, yeah,
Warm up.
yeah. I just put that in there, and then we're standing by for the thing to start. So I just put it out there. Oh, hey boys. Yeah, I'm just Tess and I are gonna do a live transmission or whatever, live reaction to whatever Tripwire comes out with here in the Twitch the panel here. So everybody hang on and transmission or whatever, live reaction to whatever Tripwire comes out. So yeah, we might as well start with the. So Tess, what do you expect them to come with?
Not sure. Just some slouch hats, some SLR and greens. Not really expecting too much, to be honest.
No.
Quality voice acting, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
A couple of new weapons, maybe something that's been remodeled, maybe the grease gun remodeled. As you saw in the promo video, you got the other weapon that's slightly different, with the mag on top.
Yeah.
You got the SLR, which is
yeah, and for everybody that's not British, what is the SLR?
It's the old standard British Army rifle before they moved to the little bullpup version.
Mm-hmm. So it's like the FAL, pretty much.
Yeah, it is really, isn't it? It's the predecessor, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And much superior. It was, for reference, you put a bayonet on it. It looks like a pike, but they used it a lot in Falklands. was the
Yeah.
main weapon there. That was the last time it was really used. It wasn't that particularly good for the Ireland troubles. That's why they switched to the bullpup, which is more urban friendly.
And then again, anybody that has ever walked, a kilometer, walked the walk in the soldier's boots, would never, ever, ever in their right mind say, "Oh, I would like to have a 7.62 caliber rifle." It's okay if you play a lot of computer games, or you might be a tank driver and say, "Oh yeah, I hated 5.56." Yeah, but wait, if you're humping your equipment around and doing all the jumping all over the fucking countryside, it's you don't want to be carrying around 7.62. So yeah, I looked at the at the 7 like at the trailer, and I saw that Sten gun type thing, and also saw the FAL. Okay, so some fucking trailer now. I don't know how hard we're gonna get copyright striked on this, but I'm gonna fucking take the chance here. Yeah, but what are we doing? It's like, isn't it? There must be some sort of we are like doing a commentating reaction to stuff, so it's not really, is it?
Oh yeah, you can get away with all sorts of bullshit.
I think, isn't it? I don't know. But
it's like reaction videos, people getting thousands, just by watching a video and then saying something at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's like, okay, that's a thing now.
Mm-hmm. Anderson, what the fuck is this bullshit? So here we go. First, turn on your document use. It looks like it's coming up. 4 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna be looking at the chat here, guys. So you can come up with your thoughts and your stuff if you have any. Yeah, I'm drinking primarily tea right now. I've been down seeing, guys. I just became an uncle 6 days ago, so I was down seeing my brand new little nephew, Carl. So that's nice.
Kyle Vikingson.
Yeah. He's gonna be a beast. He's gonna rule the known world. No. Oktoberfest asks if I'm into collecting World War II relics. It would be nice, but we don't really have any World War II relics lying around. So
you are a World War II relic. What are you on about?
Yeah.
I just saw somebody try and pick up a satchel that was on the ground and it blew up in the face. That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I've seen those not movies, but those YouTube videos with those Russians like going out in the marshes and like digging up fucking tanks and shit. I would like to try and do that stuff, but yeah. Americans got the Springfield rifle.
Please take your seats and silence all cell phones. Our program begins now.
Oh shit! Here we go with this. Oh, here they go. Okay, I'm gonna turn them up a bit.
Welcome to the
I like his
Tripwire
beard.
panel, talking about the future of Rising Storm 2 Vietnam. That's what I like to hear. That guy right there.
Audience participants.
A little louder, come on.
There
we go.
Turned them up a bit.
Hopefully, most of this presentation.
That guy on the right there is
None of you saw what happened earlier at PC Gamer when
says
they
that on the
announced
Starbucks
what
mug.
happened in this panel 4 hours early, because that never happened.
Just act surprised.
Yes. Yeah. Very surprised, especially those of you in our Discord. We came to a deal. Alan will speak like an Australian if you act surprised.
Did you know this?
All right.
Hey,
We have
Clever.
Discord. Discord.gg/RS2Vietnam. Join now.
Sorry, man. It's difficult reading off my phone
I've
here.
got to go. The dog been
Right,
sick.
anyway, who am I? I'm
The
Jim.
dog been sick.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, then I.
Thank you. We have Mike Stone, who is our producer here on the project. Followed by Alan, who I believe is our chief voiceover artist for Killing Floor, our chief head model in Killing Floor, Red Orchestra, Rising Storm.
Yeah.
Guys,
Salso
let me
is
know
our
if,
president
let me
and
know if,
part lead of the Red Orchestra franchise.
what? A Heinkel?
You get an applause. That's
Shit.
awesome.
That's so nice.
Get off applause.
Oh,
Down at the
Okay.
end, we have James Lamar, who, if you remember him last year,
Guys, let me know if I need to turn up the
is
sound.
one of our associate producers.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, let's get started. So, I'm sure many of you who have visited us before know a little bit about the franchise history. Started off with Red Orchestra, mod contest, make something unreal. Great engine, by the way.
Joe's not here.
Yeah. Which turned into our Red Orchestra original title, Ostfront, which turned into later Red Orchestra 2, then the Rising Storm expansion, standalone expansion, and now currently Rising Storm 2 and new content that is coming soon. So there's a reason why we're mentioning modding here a little bit. So Alex, you want to take it away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has everybody here, before we start babbling on about what the game actually currently is, has everybody here played Vietnam? Lots of people?
Just one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Anyone going to admit to not having played it yet?
it's free this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
True. That's why you have a wonderful
Never.
laptop like me.
Wait, you mean you're doing something other than playing games tonight? What, sleep?
Did anybody bring their laptops to PAX's?
Yes, I think anybody playing on the playing Rising Storm 2 Vietnam on the laptop in the middle of the presentation wins a prize.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right, hold on.
not you. Anyway, yeah. Hopefully you've seen a good amount about Rising Storm Vietnam. I mean, you know, we enjoy our authentic-based historical first-person shooters.
Gun skins,
It
please.
was very definitely
God's
move
sakes.
on from RO2 and the earlier incarnations in the franchise. But some of the same stuff that you all know really well.
Let's see what
64-player
happens there, I don't know.
servers, yeah, fairly teamwork heavy.
Yes, we know.
We actually
Teamwork.
added in some new game types this time around.
Yes.
Yeah, apart from the territories game type, there was skirmish and supremacy. Supremacy is the big thing aimed really to make big use of helicopters, see the choppers in use and all the rest of it. But let's not get boring. Let's talk about new
Okay.
stuff quickly.
All right.
Yes.
Here's those wonderful things he mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, at launch, as you know, we had the two. We basically had two sides: the US, the Americans and the Vietnamese, US Army, and Marine Corps, with the NVA and the VC. So what we'll talk about in a minute is adding new factions to the game.
Yes. So we've been pretty busy since launch. We've been working on a lot of quality
Let's see
of life
here.
improvements, bug fixes,
No
new
fix.
features.
Yes.
And as Alan has alluded to,
Updates.
we've also been working
Yeah,
towards a
they
push.
just fucking turned the maps around. Bullshit.
We just did an update that added a couple new weapons and map variations to the game,
Yeah.
which is Song Bay in territory.
They just turned the fucking maps around. Bullshit.
The Makarov pistol, the 1917 revolver, and the silenced XM21. And we also did a instance rendering system, which is still in an experimental prototype phase, but a lot of users are reporting they are getting much better frame rates out of it and much more stable frame rates.
Someone want to explain what instance rendering is?
All right, instance rendering is this really, really cool tech that I am probably not fully qualified to explain. However,
So
Oh.
I guess basically it will take instances of objects that are all in the level, and instead of having to bundle it in and put more pressure onto your CPU,
Oh, come on.
that and putting it onto the GPU, so you have more objects that will be able to be rendered in a single thread.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things one of the engineers came up with, and we wanted to try out because, good example, because Vietnam, jungle heavy, you've got 2,000 instances of one tree, all have to be rendered separately in the old way. This way, they get 2,000 instances of a tree gets rendered once. As James said, it'll offload a fair amount of pressure from the CPU off onto the GPU. So people who are seeing the biggest gains are those who've got a bit of spare capacity on the GPU.
Yeah, you'll see it on frame rate time and frame rate tick.
Yeah, so if you've got, I hate to say it, if you've got a really old GPU, we have a couple of new ones here, which somebody may walk away with. But with the really old GPUs, it's not you're not going to see the big gains.
Yeah, it's
necessarily.
not as much. I mean, depending on which GPU that you have and how old it is, you might see some, but a lot of the benefits are really on the higher end ones. I think it really started.
So guys, what do you think they're gonna? What weapons do you think they're gonna announce? I don't
A lot
know.
of the users are reporting that where their frame rate would fluctuate a lot up and down. Once they enabled the new tech, it was basically staying at a constant at least 60 or above. So it's a much smoother experience.
But as
Exciting.
always, we want to hear back
Exciting.
from you guys about,
Yes.
forums through Discord or whatever about what experience are you getting? Because this tech it's experimental for us.
Yes.
We want to see, is it really, what's it really achieving, and who for? But the other stuff, I mean, this
Yes, the FAL.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
Tuesday
Yep.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Because the Browning high power probably, and that Huey we saw in that trailer, that huge fucking Huey and all that
those
shit.
of you who haven't bought it yet, that's a hint.
Alan's very subtle with his hints, as you might have gathered.
Yes.
So, now we briefly touched on modding earlier, and one reason we'll bring it up again is we like to put our money where our mouth is.
Oh, modding
Got
contest. Yeah.
How much money, Mike?
A lot.
All right, too much money for Mike to count.
Yes.
But he can't read at this distance.
$40,000 worth.
Yep.
For maps and mods in general.
Yeah, historically, we're talking about mapping and modding. Historically, we've kind of called these things mapping contests. But what we wanted to encourage this time around as well is, we want to see new maps, and I hope some of you out there will be producing new maps. I mean, there's certainly a good number already appearing. But we also want to encourage people to just come up with mods. I mean, we've done.
Emu faction.
Yeah, it's the. Wait, why does that keep coming up? The Great Emu War. Yeah. If you haven't looked it up, you need to go look up the Great Emu War, where a modern army managed to lose to emus. And I do mean, the big flappy bird things.
It is well documented.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe.
I do believe it was.
Yes. Anyway, not trying to give away anything. But yeah, the mapping and modding contests are open, and for those of you who, if anybody here or listening did any mapping for RO2 Rising Storm, you'll find that we've made some hopefully significant improvements.
Let's see.
Things like adding new factions.
So let's hope that they at least, with the modding, let's at least hope that those maps are gonna be worked through. So it's not gonna be like fucking, Miskova River and some of all that stuff that's quite sometimes can be that needs more work. A lot of the maps that were like community created is
Do we have any map
you
makers?
can
or
go all the
modders
way up
in
behind
the
and shit.
All right.
There's $40,000 worth of reasons why you should become one, perhaps. So
Yeah. Our SDK for, I believe, almost every single one of our titles is freely available if you own the title.
Yep.
So go
Yeah.
ahead,
And-
download it today.
And for phase 1, and you have all the way until October 31st, so you still have plenty of time.
Yep.
Good. All right.
One of the other things we're doing,
They
we're
sh-
using it internally, and we'll make this freely available to anybody who's doing mapping, is we've actually built a whole bunch of analytics into this version of the franchise. What you can see here is, here's just a quick sample. I think I grabbed 24 hours data of all the custom maps that are currently out there. This was about a week or so back. And you can see, for example, what's the percentage of the VC winning more, of the US winning more, so you can get a good idea of the balance on your map.
That's nice.
See
That's
what
fucking
percentage of
awesome.
time does
That's
each of the
fucking
possible
awesome.
win conditions
So they
happen.
can check that out.
Have you designed a map?
You
where
know,
the
guys,
VC
remember to
defender
check out
goes down
Hapless's
the
stuff.
US
He makes
100%
maps
of the
and
time?
shit. He's really
That may
good.
give you a clue
He's
that
gonna
the map's
win,
not
I hope.
perfectly
Him and
balanced.
Dragon. Both
So
needs
we
to
make
win.
all that data available, and we'll
That's
do that.
really awesome.
Probably on demand, probably about every couple of weeks or something like this through the contest. so
That's
that,
really interesting with the
anyone who's building maps,
analytics.
you'll be able
You
to see that
really
data.
needed that
And
in
there's a
there.
whole pile more.
Ah.
And the other fun bit, which we're just starting to make use of ourselves, is basically player death heat maps. This is.
Oh, look at the right flank.
Any of you guys play?
Look at
make a
this.
habit of playing Hue City. Yeah, there's a few of you playing Hue.
I
Yeah,
heard some moans.
go here, crawl up on the stairs.
Objective C is pretty,
Yeah, it
can
gets
be pretty difficult.
Yeah, this is a heat map from, I think it's a few hours of play on Hue City across various servers.
Sorry, I'm back.
You can,
Yeah,
if you
okay.
know the map well, you'll be able to recognize, that's where the Americans die trying to cross the bridge. And that little red
that's the
line
bridge.
there is
They're
where
addressing
all
the-
VC
yeah, they're
are
addressing the
hanging out in
citadel.
those
Yeah,
tunnels
that's the
Yeah.
heat map. That's
and
really
can
nice.
kind
You
of-
can see where people
you
are
can
dying.
plot those things.
So yeah, you can see how people just
And again,
fucking
we'll make
tried
all
the
this
right
data
hand flank.
available So that, if you want to look at your map, where are the choke
And I
points?
can see where we all go
where's
hide up on
everybody
that left-hand flank.
Where's everybody dying?
That's us.
The flip side of that, which we didn't do for this, is we're also recording where do people get shot from, which actually, once you start to dig into that data, will tell you where are people exploiting your map and why are they over there and how did that happen?
That would be us. How did
That's
that happen?
really nice.
Start thinking about just working on real detail.
It would be nice to have a look
and
at that.
And this is kind of important for us because for Tripwire itself, we've always kind of really had a big part of ourselves supporting the modding community. I mean, even at Tripwire internally, most of our employees within the level
Supporting.
design department.
Some people might say
came
that's a
from the modding
fucking lie.
community, whether it
Supporting the mod
was
community.
from
Some
the
people
Red
I've
Orchestra
talked to
series or
might
the
be
Killing Floor
disagree.
series. They got their
But
start
yeah,
there.
it looks,
Yeah, I think
they
you're
put
right,
out, they just, they
three-quarters of our
confirmed
level
those
design
40,000
are all ex-community mappers.
40,000 funds or
Great way to get a
$40,000
job at Tripwire. Mod
dollars,
something into our game.
$40,000 in map prices.
But yeah, I mean, we'll make. I mean, as it says on the slides, I think we're.
I'm just gonna
we're
read through the
recording
messages
something
and then
ridiculous,
how
like
far you've gone.
about 1 million records a day, and we'll dump that data out for.
It's really
for
nice.
all the mappers, so that you can actually, you can do with it as you. see
Samo
fit.
S, where are you
Don't
from?
use it, you
Yeah,
don't use it.
we all got all
We
that.
will be
I
because
think
we'll be
we-
looking to see, when we're actually judging the contest, how balanced are these maps? Are people
It's
having
really
fun on
nice.
those maps? And part of the process will be, getting all the players to
Yeah,
vote
yeah.
on which do you think are the best maps? Which are you having the most fun on?
Okay, son.
Definitely, if you're thinking about making a map, definitely.
Yeah, we
use
need
that
more
because
urban
we have
maps, that's for
also
sure.
Made community maps, official maps. So then, not only that, can you now go from saying that you won a contest, but now you could say that one of your maps that you created is in a game and is actually part of the official lineup.
All right, so who's ready to learn something new?
Oh, here it comes.
We've talked about all the stuff like mapping contests and all the things we've done to date. So let's talk about the big stuff.
All right, here we go.
More Killing Floor DLC.
Oh, that's the trailer. Nice rendering. Nice
There's the
picture.
SLR.
Yeah. And look at the stem thing. Yeah. Ah, that was nice. 20mm, 1.7-inch rockets. Yeah.
One very slow Huey, and one very bad RPG.
Crikey. Anyone? All right, sorry.
If Struth isn't
Yeah.
mentioned as a word.
Yeah, we had to do a Paul Hogan. Sorry, mate.
Sturt, you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. The first big content update
That's
will
not
be
a
the
knife.
Australians,
This
the
is a
Anzac
knife.
forces.
Rambo
Soon.
DLC.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Someone pointed out to me, of course, that not everyone knows that the Australians and people were actually in
Oh, here we go.
Vietnam. So here's the quick history lesson. They were there from You're talking about 60,000 Australians, 4,000 New Zealanders were deployed to Vietnam to fight alongside the US and South Vietnamese forces. They were there from 62 through 72, so they were a long time. There's an awful lot of good material to draw on.
Yes.
Okay, so what's going to be...
This reminds me of Powerbank.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
With
L2A2
the new faction,
AIR.
Getting some wonderful new weapons. The L1A1, otherwise known as the FN FAL to most people who play other
Oh,
shooters,
yeah.
which is a single-shot version that was carried by the main infantry of the Australian and New Zealand forces. The L2 variant, which was used as their close-in
Browning
light
Halbfire.
submachine gun and squad support weapon, where you could switch it over to full auto and pray and spray into the jungle. The ON SMG, the F1 SMG, and for those of you who like pistols, the Browning high-powered.
Oh, 17 rounds or whatever it's going to be.
About some new map content. We got some of that coming as well, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we got three new
Nice.
maps coming. They're being, internally tested right now. The plan is to have supremacy and territory
Rain
versions
effect.
of these new
That's
maps.
nice.
We're just going to determine timing on that. We
9
want to make
months
sure
of
that
the
the
season is
core
one
base
season.
of the maps is
Yeah.
solid before releasing it. But yeah, we're looking for not only these maps, but all future maps to make the alternate versions of the maps. So there's plenty of content out there moving forward.
Yeah, and of course, I suppose I should do this in the obligatory Australian.
Yeah, it's going to be Rhodesian
Do the
Bush
Aussie
Wars. Yes,
I mean,
please.
I
Discord
can't
does.
do an Aussie accent, and Sturt's going to kill me for it. That's it. I mean, Coda, who happens to be Australian. Yeah, because the other bit that we mentioned at the top there is, this is it's a full new faction, which means a complete set of uniforms and all the rest of it. It means their own customization gear all the way through, and of course an Australian voice pack, not being done by Paul Hogan.
But perhaps being done by Alan Wilson?
Was that it?
Yeah, that's as much an Australian accent as you're getting out of me.
I just point.
Paul Hogan really wanted to, we
said
just turned
General
him
wasn't
down.
as armoured, so it'd probably be a lot more vulnerable
And
to.
we've definitely heard
smaller arms.
the fans' request. They wanted dark maps and rainy maps, so we're definitely pursuing some of those with the new content we're working on. As
Yeah.
you might have seen in the trailer, which includes some cool new shiny shaders and effects in the game. And we
Yeah.
have a new ability coming as well for the Australian commander, which is the Canberra Bomber.
Does anybody want to explain what the...
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, go.
Well, I'm not quite sure myself, so...
On Wikipedia right now.
The Royal Australian Air Force also deployed Canberra bombers to the theatre. And these are basically good 1950s, 1960s era bombers, dropping, I think, munitions in the range of about 500 pounds a time. So what you're going to be able to, what the commander ability
Sub bomb run.
that the Australians are going to get is a bombing run from a couple of Canberras, which will be pretty
Wiki
devastating.
link to the live chat.
And messy.
Messy, yeah.
We're talking about other airborne stuff. You want to talk about the Bush Ranger?
Yeah, so kind of increasing the amount of abilities that you have from the helicopter. You already have the Huey, which was already in there for the release. But now instead of having to rely on the firepower from the Cobra or even the Loach, now you have it all in one vehicle, which will still have,
Drop it.
I
Never
forget
mind.
the size of
Just
the rockets on
Wikipedia
the
it.
side, but it does
English
have two
electric
twin
Canberra.
M60.
Yeah, I mean the Aussies took the
very
Huey
interesting.
and because they
With the Huey now.
decided they didn't want to fly Cobras as well, what they did was equip the Huey with a pair of miniguns,
miniguns.
plus twin door gunners. It's and the
FFARs.
yeah, the FFARs, FFARs. So this thing's got a fair bit of firepower on board.
Yep.
So this is all in development right now. Some eagle-eyed community members have spotted us testing it. It is visible from time to time.
Yeah, you'll see various map names because we haven't actually really finalised map names. I mean, we're picking on things like that. For anyone who knows the Australians, I mean, one of their big engagements was the Battle of Long Tan. So that'll be
Very
featured.
interesting to see if you can actually have
And as
people in
has
that
been
helicopter,
mentioned,
because
can probably also
you
see
could not
from
have
some of the
people in that
pictures,
helicopter if
we're
it's
doing
full
some
with the
special
ammo
weather effects
for the
things like
rockets
that,
and
that,
shit.
of course, will all be
It's a
available
huge
to
weight,
others as
you
well.
know.
Vietnam.
If it's with the
you
Gatling
you
guns
kinda
and
need
shit.
Somewhere in there,
You
there
know,
has to be
first-
that sort of.
It's meant to be
foul
just the
weather, rain.
Yeah, it's just
Commander
a sack
Tom.
helicopter.
You have to
Yeah.
represent the rainy season
Yeah.
in some type of map, at least.
Yeah, so you'll see. I mean, you'll see some screenshots on some of that stuff. They should be floating around, released by
Yeah,
PC Gamer
rainy season is
later
9 months of the
today.
year.
Thanks, guys. And what we've done there is, apart from
Yeah,
the obvious
PC
things
Gamer
like,
had an
the
early
rain coming
release.
down
They
in front
actually
of you,
showed
the
some
rest
of the
it is,
stuff
you
before
actually want
today.
all the gear to appear wet, so you'll see
Yeah. Oops.
wet,
Uniforms.
damp, moisture effects on the uniforms, on the
Weapons.
players, hands, weapons, and everything.
And the like the choppers too, and the windshields and all that. So
What, you gotta
and
get
all that's
moist
new
hands?
tech that we had to figure out how to actually do.
That's
on
hilarious, man.
all the,
They just
vehicles and
revealed
players.
new things. Hashtag
Talking about
moist
timings,
hands.
I mean, yes, it's all in development right now.
That's the new
You
thing.
can see some
Moist
quick
hands.
trailer there,
What the
a
fuck?
quick teaser.
It's almost as
Is
good
that
as
why all the
Cod
Aussies had
releasing the
M16s?
Fish that
Is
swim
that why all
away
the
from
Aussies
you.
had M16s?
Yes.
Press F for
Because we
respect.
haven't finished the new weapons yet. They're in the new weapons are actually in game in blockout. But that means that's developer speak for they don't look pretty yet, so we aren't going to show them to you.
Not final.
Yeah, but we are working on it.
Yes, yeah, they'll be. I mean, we'll put to be. When are they due to be final?
The weapons?
Yeah,
Something like
was it 2
like
or
a
3
few
weeks?
weeks from now.
Yeah.
It's about 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks from now.
a few weeks now.
We'll put those into sort of some closed alpha testing, and then what we're looking to do, current schedule, and emphasis on current because it's game.
Yeah, we want all those
schedules can
old
change.
weapons.
Have they released the
and
price
we'll-
yet, or is this meant to be?
Yes, they will one way or another.
Release what?
Is to get all
is this
that
free
all those,
update
the
that they're
new
gonna
maps,
charge DLC
and all
for
that
it?
new
I think it's
content
free.
into a beta
Thank God for
available
that.
to all of you during October. We're not exactly sure of the timings
In
yet.
October,
It really gets
okay.
down to our getting through our internal play testing, enough QA, some alpha testing, and make sure it's all stable and works well and everything else, and then get it into the hands of all the players. For your feedback on the maps and the weapons and everything else.
Do we have beta testers from before the game was released in the audience? Or
Yeah.
so if you guys remember all the feedback you guys supplied, we dedicate ourselves to reading the feedback and the forums, and we're just
Love the
going to do
fact
the
they've
same
got a
thing here.
controller
So
there, a
please
shield.
send in your feedback when this goes out there.
Product
And
placement.
once we've had a chance to turn around and act on that feedback, we're looking at a launch later this year, as well as working towards some other new stuff beyond the new faction.
Yeah, let's talk about what happens. Yeah, so okay, so we've talked about first big content update. Let's talk about it a little bit more. The stuff we've got here is those things that we're already
Campaign!
committed to. There's a
Campaign!
plan for them, from through 2017
There we
and
go,
2018
campaign.
to actually deliver on all of these bits and pieces.
That's what we talked
This
about in
all
the very
isn't
first
coming out
teaser
like
trailer
next week
video.
or next month. This is our current plan, long-term plan for the next several
Yeah,
months.
we knew this.
Yeah, these are all things that aren't on the schedule yet, but things that we've all decided internally that these are the items we should move forward on at some point in the future.
They are on the schedule, but we just can't tell them that.
Yeah, well, right. Yes.
Yeah. Who played multiplayer campaign in the previous incarnations?
No,
Yeah, I guess
but
some of you have been looking forward to getting a multiplayer campaign rolling again. Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, for those who don't know, the multiplayer campaign in RO2 and Rising Storm was basically done
For everyone.
where you've got a big
Everyone.
meta map.
It's broken.
Of, the Pacific or whatever, of Stalingrad. And you play for those territories, but what you do, it was done with especially in RO2, with a simple side-swapping mechanic, where you normally play the map with the Germans attacking and the Russians defending, you just swap them over.
Hey,
You
campaign,
realise with Rising
woohoo!
Storm that gets harder to do when the sides are more asymmetric, and clearly that's not going to work for Vietnam. I mean, you take a map with the US charging at you with helicopters and everything, and you swap the Vietnamese over to trying to do that. It's not going to make sense. So we're looking at some new mechanics for that.
So the new attack defend mechanic.
Some good ideas on that.
Some new campaign
and hey, if any
mechanics.
of you got some good ideas
That'd be
on
nice.
it, throw them up on the forums.
Yeah,
Let's
it's gonna
get
be nice.
discussing it.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a different way of introducing it because also for the Vietnamese they had a lot of guerrilla warfare, which wasn't. If we use the same map from the two prior games, it really wouldn't work too well to represent that type of guerrilla attacks in the region.
I mean, we've talked about.
Was that a
various-
shout out
we've
that
got
they want
various
their fans
ideas where
to-
we're thinking about.
They wanted to do their
Vietnam
job.
wasn't a war about trying to clean out of this, this area. It was about hearts and minds and things like that. So are we, we're just playing around with what's actually the mechanic to win and lose the meta game. Yep.
So, we're kicking around ideas internally. We're going to be prototyping things, and we'd love for you to join the discussion. We're also working towards some other new content, such as the ARVN, which is the South Vietnamese Army.
Don't napalm the civilians. I
More
guess.
weapons for all the factions we currently have that we're adding, and of course, more maps.
More
So
maps.
beyond
Shut
all
the
these
fuck
things,
up.
these
They're
are
gonna make
things
everybody
that
else
we're
make maps
committed
for
to.
them.
They're
Fuck.
not quite fully scheduled in, but we're right now moving ahead with them as if these are going to happen. Now, once again, everything is
Always
subject
about
to
the
change.
ball.
But that's always good. They at least they have some idea and they're like
but we do
working on
have some things
campaign.
that aren't
It's going to
quite
be nice
so
to see what they come up with.
Sure, but we wanted to share them with you anyway and sort of get your feedback. Let's take a look.
Oh,
So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that we want to do. We're trying, as it says, I mean, some of this stuff is in R&D, as in, you know, us trying out how would we do some of these things. You know, one of the things that's been suggested is, you know, why not roll forward a whole bunch of content from sort of the World War II era, you know, into this,
World
you know,
War
actually
II
into the same game. So we're looking at how could you do that. Is it going to be easy to port across RO2 Rising Storm maps and things like that? So we're doing a whole bunch of R&D on that to see what we can do there. If nothing else, I have a personal desire to see the map that has been known as Danzig, as Apartments. What else has it been known as over the years? Anyone here played the original Red Orchestra?
Apartments.
There we go.
What about the mod? So got some original mod players here? One or two?
There we go.
Yeah, you may remember there was a map that was
yes.
that it's kind of become almost a meme within the Red Orchestra franchise, which started. Did it start out as Danzig?
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Danzig
It
was
started-
Danzig.
first, at least,
Apartments.
and it's kind of seen reincarnations in pretty much every version of RO2, and I still have a personal desire to see that done again.
It also had an unreleased version for the original Killing Floor, but I'll never mention that. It did. We made it. We
Didn't
never
that
shipped
become
it.
Barashka?
No one told me about it.
The
No,
Danzig one.
apartments. We want apartments.
One of the next bullet points is
apartments.
3D VoIP. Is anyone been requesting that?
No, fuck off.
All three
Don't
of you?
care about
You saw that
It's,
internet? Three
it's
people?
highly requested on
Fuck,
forums and other
3D
avenues. And
World War II
yeah,
army,
just the other
they can
day,
port those.
right before the weekend, one of our programmers was testing internally, and it was working with some bugs, but it was working. So, again, some things will be in a more of an R&D stage than other things, but yeah, it's definitely on the radar.
And we've definitely seen players request the return of bots, and we've mentioned that if bots were to return to the franchise, we wanted them to
Bugs,
be
he means features.
better than what you may have
Bots.
remembered from Red Orchestra 2. So that is
Much as some players like bots that just trot along the same path, and
Yeah,
you know,
well, gotta feel
something to do
powerful.
with leveling
Make
up.
themselves as easy targets.
or maybe deploy their machine guns while standing and shoot you through the back
I
of their
enjoy
heads.
the bots in Red
Those are my
Orchestra
favorite
too.
ones. But we are doing some research into how we can improve those, and if it's something that's successful, we'll definitely bring them back. We've heard you. It's something we're not against, but we want all players to be
Yeah.
able to enjoy them if we bring them back.
Yeah. But one of the things that we've mentioned, we put it up here, is that, you know, if we're going to start using, you know, if we're going to find good ways to use.
But really, World War
bots
II
like
army,
AI,
you know,
why not do
weapons
something
and
with
shit,
co-op?
porting that would be
Would
nice.
people be interested in sort of co-op pieces within Vietnam? Does that sound like a cool idea or a terrible idea?
If you don't speak up now, we're not doing it. So,
Yeah.
it's just,
All right.
Good.
oh, okay.
Good.
I better be careful with saying that then for other items. Okay.
What?
I've just gone to an advert.
We do
somehow.
run some of our
1
own
minute.
servers, but it fluctuates how many we run at any given time.
Yep. There's a few more running this weekend. But
Yep.
the free
It's
weekend.
there
a
are.
free weekend. Yep.
Yep. And you know, another one that we're doing some research on is controller support for, you know, particularly for chopper pilots.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit to being one of the worst helicopter pilots.
Controller
you've ever
support,
seen.
that's gonna
Probably
be nice.
marginally less bad than him, but that's another story.
Be so nice
Yeah.
to
These
fly
two-
with
these two can
joysticks and
fly
shit.
well. I'm
Yeah.
garbage at it. But controller support for those who want that. We're just looking at, you know, what's a good. I mean, yeah, we could hack it in, but we want to make sure it's a good way of doing it, and that makes sense. And it's
Yeah, one of our lead designers, Adam, has been working with controller support, and he's got it working. But it's early stages, and just to make a note, controller support is very different than flight stick support. So if you go to our Trello boards, which are either in a slide or we'll talk about it there, flight stick support is down the road more, but controller support is actually going to be something that we're looking at hopefully sooner. But brings up another good point of our Trello boards. Has anyone been to the Trello boards? No?
Yes,
Okay.
we've been there,
Well,
done
there's
that.
the link.
yeah.
You can always stay up to date on what we're doing with Vietnam by visiting our Trello roadmap. We move things around as they start being fixed. We start moving them into patch buckets.
I like that the new
we're
variants,
working on. We start
weapons,
listing out
that's
other things
interesting.
we're working on that are a bit further away.
They have that in
and
third,
players
fourth
can just
quarter,
see what's coming
17.
down the road.
Yeah.
No new variants.
Yeah, and we do. I mean, again, as always, we want your feedback on this sort of stuff. You know, you
We
can go
want
in there,
the-
we've
we
got
want
some,
the fucking
you know,
suppressed
bits where you
grease
can
gun.
vote things up or down. So, you know, if
Carl
the stuff
Gustav
you
submachine
go to
gun
Trello
also.
boards, the stuff there that you think is a really good idea, you really want to see voted up. You know, we do actually take notice of that stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Put simply,
Revolver,
we
no.
don't invest money in.
It's
building
already in
something
there,
that no
man. You
one
can just go play it
gives a
now.
rat's about.
I really want like
the
a
Trello
Joe
boards are
Galloway
great. We
character where you
really
can
try
take
to be
pictures
as
of the enemy.
visible as possible,
Get,
or
like,
what
huge
makes
points
sense
for
at any
taking the
time with the
picture.
community. We don't like to obviously put dates down for reasons that they'll shift at times, but this is a really good place to go for kind of what we're doing in real time. For more or less, we try to update it like at least once a week or so. So when we see things being upvoted or downvoted, or if there's additional comments referring to certain items, that just know we're listening and we're watching.
Fix
so please
grease
participate
gun
as
iron
much
sights,
as you
yes
want.
please.
Yeah. As you can see, this the screenshots from a few days ago.
M14 grease gun sights as well, and
Patch
M16.
103.
Yeah.
So next week we'll start putting information together about patch 104 and what's coming next there and all the rest of it. But I mean, if you're interested enough, please take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, dig into it. Tell us what you think.
And now, time for some Q&A.
Okay.
Also, for those of you not here and are at home next to your computers, Rising Storm 2 is having a free weekend right now, and it's 25% off. Check it out today.
Yeah. Okay.
All
So
right, we have
Yeah,
two
we-
mics in the room, one on each side. If
And
you
one
have a
up, and one
question,
up here. Sorry. Bad
Go
joke.
ahead and line up behind a mic and ask it to us. Then we also may pull in some things from Reddit or Discord, because a couple people have asked questions there.
You want to kick us off?
I just want to say I really love your game. My next question is, are you going to put anything in relation to Laos in the game?
Laos.
Because my dad, he always, like, he came from Laos, he tells me
Oh
all
no,
about the war.
one of those guys, my dad,
Yeah.
something like the last guy with
And
the
how
last time
my
with the fucking dog.
grandpa, who was working with the CIA at the time with Vietnam. and how you had
it's
to-
one of the things that
Yeah,
you know, has been asked for occasionally, and people have mentioned it, is, you know, are we going to do some of these, wander off into some of the Spec Ops stuff, you say, where the CIA never, of course, wandered off over the border by mistake or anything else, and turned up in Laos or Cambodia or wherever else they got to.
I like those personal reference
you know, and the
stories.
various
I would
Spec
like
Ops teams
my
that
dad
were
fought
wandering
in
around.
that rice field. I
it's
would like to see
that's
more of
definitely one of
that.
the things that's on the cards.
Yeah.
When, don't know. I mean, funny enough, it's one of those things where we've gone, how do we do Spec Ops? Because, I mean, we tend to feature, you know, the big kind of main force battles, and how does Spec Ops fit into that? That may be something that's been suggested that we might toy around with more when we go into, you know, if we take the bots and AI down a co-op route, then that could be a good way of dealing with that sort of stuff.
Co-op.
But
Co-op
yes,
against the
it's
bots.
absolutely possible. When, don't know.
Oh my
And in
god.
regards to your 3D VoIP, are you talking about like regional chat?
That'd be a
Like,
good
where
lineup, to
if
be
I were to
fair,
talk to
co-op
someone close
versus
by
bots.
here, they would
Yes.
hear me.
Yes.
They would hear you.
Regional
I have a
chat. Yeah.
suggestion. I don't know if I should post it in there, but not to bring up another game, but in regards to Day of Infamy, if there was a radio man nearby,
Yep.
if that radio man said something, the other radio man would hear it. So I don't know if that's going to be
We're
added.
also looking at
Let me
some.
just take notes.
Yeah,
Can you repeat that?
So I thought that was really cool, because then if the radio man was talking, the commander told him to say something, the radio man repeats. Like I remember in Day of Infamy, my radio man and the other radio
somebody
man
read in the
smack
chat
talk to each
in
other, and
Twitter
we
to
could
me,
hear
like
it
in
because the guy's
Twitch.
radio would emit
My
the
dad
sound.
worked at the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Can I please
There are some
bicycle back
command
and
and control
forth
stuff
with
that we're
ammo?
looking
Yeah.
at for quality of life improvements, and that's definitely an idea that's been kicked around for something similar. I'm not saying we're going to do it, but we're going to be experimenting with some changes in that area as we move ahead as well.
My great uncle was an
Yeah,
embassy
no
worker.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
So,
go.
I'm a very big fan of your guys' Darkest Hour. Some of the best vehicle combat I ever experienced in my life. And I was curious, you guys are ever going to broaden your vehicle combat, get that little Darkest Hour feeling to it? And coming from a DCS background, I was just curious if you guys can put more realism into the vehicles, such as helicopters. That way you can also filter out some of the lemmings. I always like to hop for the helicopter right away.
Good question. Awesome question.
That's
Answer carefully.
Finally, a good question.
we definitely want to add more vehicles, especially to any game of the franchise. But one of the missteps, you could say, that we made with Red Orchestra 2 is we made them more realistic and super detailed, and that slowed down our ability to get them out the door. And fans didn't like that. They always wanted more faster, and it became something we couldn't deliver on. So as we're moving ahead, we're taking a look at how we did things again and lessons learned and how we can apply that moving forward and see if we can do a better job.
Yeah, we don't want the internals of the fucking tank, we just want the external. Nobody cares about the internals of the tank.
I think you're also alluding to the idea of if you make helicopters difficult enough, really bad pilots won't waste their time crashing them into mountains.
That's what they do. They orientate.
But the catch is, how do people get good? Not everyone. You look at the stats. We have a significant number of people in the Red Orchestra franchise who play a phenomenal amount. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 hours of the game, and that's a huge amount. But the other 80 or 90% of the population don't play that amount. So we kind of have to cater for, if you like, to some extent for the middle ground. We like to try and, as with the helicopters, and we.
Good question. That was finally a real question by somebody that actually played the game.
What do we officially call it? A complicated flight model.
Finally, somebody.
The advanced flight model, and you can do a lot. Someone's showing off, and you can actually, you can make the helicopters perform that much better with them, and we kind of prefer to go that way, so that people who aren't, like Mike and myself, who are really crap with helicopters, can at least still fly the things. But those who get really good can be pretty spectacular. So it's a tricky one. I mean, and some of that, I think you were mentioning Darkest Hour, mod that's been around for a long time, and is still going. That tended, like one or two things. There's been mods over the years. There was the Immersion Overhaul Mutator for RO2 and RO2 Storm, where people who were feeling they wanted to be more and more hardcore could achieve that through mods, and that's a great way to go, frankly, because we
Immersion Overhaul.
Game, we have to pitch to the biggest possible fan base within the type of game we want it to be.
That's actually an honest answer. That's a good honest answer for them. That's really good, actually.
That's part of the reason
I can really respect that.
We're actually making the point that we've got a mapping contest and a modding contest rolling.
Yeah, that's really good, actually.
Find someone who can do that stuff and kick them into doing it for you.
Yeah, and as Alan said, it is a fine line there where at the end of the day it's got to be a game and an enjoyable one, but you also got to think too, if it's really difficult, you may be the guy who's riding in with the player that's not good and you're just going to constantly crash it, like if I'm flying. So yeah, it's a fine line, but we definitely try to obviously look for the advanced route for many players as well, as opposed to other games.
Like just the sort of catchphrase that we've always used around designs for the Red Orchestra franchise is accessible realism. We're not as hardcore as some other titles that may be named Arma, but we're not Battlefield at the same time. So it's an interesting dance, and we've moved the line of where we are in between those two a few times, and I'm sure we'll keep moving it as we try new things.
Interesting.
But what players enjoy, and definitely when things are modded and people enjoy it, we take a look at that as well. And just because I can steal a wonderful thing from Discord, Nitronic wanted to express their love for Overlord Allen. And one of our Discord community members wanted to express his love for Overlord Allen, so I felt I'd pass that along.
Is that your wife's online there?
Shoot me now.
Moving right along quickly. Back over here.
Hello. Thank you, by the way.
Thanks.
I was actually having, I've been playing since Ostfront, and I was actually wondering, specifically in the case of the Battle of Long Tan, when close air support was not available for the Anzac forces, are we going to be replicating that as a more heavier focus on artillery for the Anzac forces, or are we going to still see CAS in there?
I'm trying to remember which New Zealand battery was supporting them, but that's another story. I mean, as always with creating maps that are related, are based off historical, real events. You kind of want to. It's a balance thing. Yes, Long Tan. It was fought in foul weather. You don't tend to call in airstrikes when the visibility is 40 meters. And there was some phenomenally accurate shooting going on by the New Zealand artillery, as I recall from what I've read of it. But that's a mapper level thing where the mappers can decide that no, we're not going to use these commander abilities. There's no, I don't want air support coming in on these maps. It's just going to be artillery. And I'm trying to with long tans in development at the moment.
Yeah. Asking because you could, at that point, just lower the timer on artillery for the.
Yep.
It's absolutely possible.
Yes, I mean, the tools are all there. I mean, as you say, what you do is the mapper can just disable things like the napalm strikes and so on.
And secondly,
I think that question came from an American-only player.
And secondly, are you planning on having a system for the longer the battle is going on, the dirtier the Anzacs get?
Dirtier
No,
characters.
it's not that clever. That would, fun as that would be.
Get the weather technology in there first and onto the player's hands and weapons, and then
moist
we'll see
hands
what we do
again.
after that.
They talk about
And
the
then you
moist
need to find
hands
someone
again.
to mod it so it
Jesus
gets
fucking
dirtier.
Christ.
$40,000 worth.
Yeah,
Don't care about
there's a
fucking
theme
moist
going
hands.
here. It's,
And
you want the outlying stuff. That's what modders are great
Jesus.
for. We have to provide all the core. We have to provide, as James says, the base weather tech.
Yeah.
But it takes modders to take these things into weird and interesting places.
And they will.
speaking of modders, we got some modding questions from Reddit. Are you guys making the SDK a bit more stable on Windows 10? The answer is yes. We're looking at that crash. I believe we actually pushed the fix for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you haven't already, whoever posted that, there were a few updates actually to the SDK recently, so should be pretty stable now.
And the follow-up is, will the SDK be getting more?
KF2 as well.
Will the SDK be getting more objects to place and ways to add things like rain? Why, yes, I think they are.
Yes.
Somebody wrote, get the tissue ready for the wet hands.
Few quick questions. You
Yes.
mentioned you're really bad at helicopters. Have you ever managed to land it upside down?
Not on purpose.
What?
Define land.
What is on his head?
Survivable.
No, I've survived some amazing.
That guy has moist hands.
Yeah, we both probably
Get him
have.
off the mic. Get him off
There
the
have been
mic.
some where after it's done, I was like, I'm surprised I actually made it through that.
There's definitely been some epic
wait, he's wearing
flight
one.
videos out there that we share all the time internally and have a good laugh at and going, that probably was Alan, perhaps, if they're flying upside down, or myself. But yeah.
And recently I saw a custom map that had snipers only. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Had to watch it.
It was only snipers for both teams.
Yeah, that is a fairly recent one. I guess recently got added to the workshop
Snipers
page.
only.
That
Fuck.
doesn't surprise me.
These questions.
I think Bolties only maps, sniper only maps have always appeared with every incarnation of Red Orchestra. We won't do, again, it's back to that point that we won't do something like that because it's so specialized. We have to provide, when we do new maps, I mean, yes, we're doing, as Jen said, we're talking about, we'll provide the weather tech that people can go off and use. We'll provide, in 3 new maps, a whole
Sweaty
bunch
balls
of
in hot
new
weather.
assets that people can go off and create maps with. But it's, we very
Oh, that's
rarely
fucking
create
awesome.
the weird,
Hold F
wacky,
for
weird
drying
extreme.
hands.
Yeah.
Fuck
best
moist
handled
hands. That's
by,
gonna be the new master
custom
meme.
mappers.
And final
Moist
thing, which map
hands.
do you think is closest to bridges?
Bridges of Druzina.
Which map is what? So
Can
closest.
one of
Closest.
stream watchers please get the jazz hands that
Bridges
some
of
Red
Druzina
Orchestra
2.0,
characters
the
do
mod
when
map.
they put moist hands.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't appeared yet. But yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
I had 2 questions. First, I was wondering, how do you guys work on fixing exploits in maps? Like on Hughes City after the bridges, there's an apartment to the right where the Vietnamese can just sit in there. The Americans can't see them when they spawn, but when they run out, they usually get shot instantly. It's a pretty popular camping spot. I was wondering how you guys were going to fix that.
No!
Yeah, I mean, we're actively looking at
fix
your
that.
feedback on the forums, and that. I mean, I know myself, James, and a few others will.
That's our exploit spot.
Thanks for passing it along, and we have our internal team actually.
That's our spot. That's under the bridge house.
Try to actually verify those things are actually true, and we try to get them in as soon as we can, especially exploits. So.
Yeah, one thing to, sorry to interject, keep in mind is a lot of people assume we know all the exploits because somebody told us, and it turns out nobody told us. Please tell us. In writing, with the location.
Yeah, in
It
addition
helps.
to the forum responses, I mean, that's also one of the reasons why we made the analytics system on there as well, and especially with the heat map system on there, so we can be able to actually start taking a look at some of these objectives and realizing, no, why are all the Americans dying in like a location like
That's
that? Why is the
disappointing that
death
they're gonna
rate
start getting rid
greater
of stuff like
down
that.
this alleyway?
That's one of the things. I
Yeah,
like about
that
it.
also is actually.
But that's
we
the
actually
what
need
they're
the
talking about is
extra
the
bit of analytics, which is
apartments on
not
the
just-
on the as
because
the
originally it was
defending
recording
on the far
the
right,
lines,
you know, on F and
I
D,
have to say
D and
it's
E.
American, don't I? Z.
Yeah.
No, Z.
No, I know, but go ahead,
Okay,
say
okay.
Z.
Whatever. The X,
It's
Y,
just
and
terrible.
Z coordinates of where you die, and what you were shot with and from what distance. We realised that you also, we now also started recording where you were shot from. So now, and we like that heat map we showed earlier. There's a corresponding one. You know, that was the one where you could see where everyone died. The corresponding one is where were people getting shot from, and what we'd be looking for in there is those points where a ton of people are getting shot from here. Is that wait a minute? What are they? How did the VC get up there? Why are they there? That's which will help highlight those points. Yeah, because they're real, pun unintended, edge cases where we'll force the defenders back when previous objectives are taken, but you may well be able to lurk in this particular spot. In some cases, it's lurk there until you get killed and you can't get back, but you can still do a lot of damage. That's always about finer and finer tuning. But to the key point, tell us about it.
Yeah, that's
I
us.
also wanted to ask, how
We do
soon
that.
do you think you'd be adding flight stick support to the game?
There's a certain skill to
How
doing
soon
that.
will
That's
we
part
have
of the asymmetric
flight
warfare.
stick support or controller support?
Flight stick.
Yeah, it's something like I mentioned earlier. It's on our Trello boards. It's something definitely in the not near future, but more of a longer term. We want to start with accessibility first, and that's a lot of controller support. But
Somebody asked,
in this series,
how does the
especially
heat
because
map
of the
work
advanced
in wet
controls,
weather?
the flight stick support is something
Matthew,
we're
that's
looking at.
hilarious,
It's
man.
just not something we've
Fuck.
been committed to currently.
Yeah.
So,
But that is also back to the key point about we want people to go to the
Matthew
Trello
P
boards.
is on fire today.
If you want that, go vote it up. Because again, we've got there's a limit to how much stuff we can do at once. And if
Just
we
get
know
something
there's
done,
a few
for God's
people
sakes.
interested in flight sticks, it's kind of it'll drop down the.
I like that he's saying that it's an exploit, the
Suddenly
right-hand
hundreds of
apartments
people,
defending on fucking
start voting it up,
Hugh City.
Actually,
Just
maybe we
fucking
need
go
to
kill
more
them. What the fuck?
notice about
Smoke
that.
them. Burn them out.
We need that feedback.
thank you.
Just send a
Another
flamethrower over there and
question
kill
from
him.
Mostly for Alan and
It's
Mike.
it's people like this who are new
What
to
are your
the
thoughts on
series who
including
don't,
some ground
who
vehicles
don't
like troop
understand the sort of
transports or light
hardcore
tanks?
nature of the
Follow
game.
up. Those M113s
It's just,
are just sitting there taunting us.
Or even better,
Ground vehicle.
just
Yeah,
prevent it to
weigh in,
begin
but
with.
ground vehicles is something that we've obviously thought about. It's just a matter of when people bring up tanks a lot in Vietnam, it's how often were they really used, and does it really make sense?
Fuck off.
We kind of look at it from a bang for buck scenario. Should we work on tanks, or we should look at other systems that really make more sense from a they were widely used standpoint? But it's these are things we've thought about. Helicopters are a given, as you can see with the Bush Ranger coming. It's just a matter of what makes sense, and again, we hate to harp on it, but
They're talking
you
about it
guys,
like they made a
if
new
you
helicopter.
really want
They
a
just
certain
fucking
vehicle
put
and
Gatling
you start
guns and
receiving a lot of
rockets on a
feedback
helicopter and
it's something we'll definitely
extra M60
take a lot more careful
and a new
attention
paint
to,
job.
but
Sounds like
vehicles is tough. I mean, it's especially now if we were to go back on other maps, you have to carefully tailor to the map itself to make sure that the vehicles make sense in the maps, and you got to account for things such as size of the maps, et cetera. So there's a lot of things to take into account. It's not quite as easy as one may think.
Yeah, I mean, things like the 113, I mean, it's one of those that we kind of grimace about because we know it makes sense because they were there, but on the other hand, they're RPG magnets, and it's not like a helicopter which is, crossing the treetops at 120 miles an hour. The M113 is plodding through a rice paddy at about 12 miles an hour. Is it going to be, the question we have to ask ourselves is it going to be fun to play? Would you want to drive an M113 across a rice paddy when 4 VC are all going to go, mine? Discuss.
Yeah, exactly.
And one more from our Discord community. This is another moddiness question. They want to know how easy the whole wetness system is going to work. Is that something they're even going to need to set up? Or is that just going to work for them if they...
wetness system. They fucking talk about the wetness system.
That is a good question on there. Definitely. Something we may
Yeah,
have to
somebody
turn
saying,
to after this.
and
but
Sean saying,
it
bring
is-
T34 and see what happens.
Promise.
I think it is
Can't
too.
hold that up.
Yeah, Yeah, you can tell we haven't got any coders up here. I think it's map dependent, but we'd actually have to check that.
Yeah. Question over here.
So you guys talked about adding in the multiplayer campaigns.
Yes.
Since you guys said the switching sides wouldn't be a possibility more, you guys could go a little more in depth into like the ideas that you have.
Ooh, I mean, put a couple of beers in our hands later, we can have the 3-hour version of that discussion.
I'll steer you right away.
We've been trying to think about. I mean, the obvious point is that if you can't just do the basic side swap mechanic, because that is just going to be so on.
Oh, this good question again.
Then what
give that man the fucking graphics card.
Don't play that same map.
Fucking awesome, my question.
Here, say it's the 2-core territory or whatever it happens to be. Maybe what we need to do is to have, if the Americans are attacking, then they'll attack this map. If the VC are attacking, it'll be a different map. Would that, is that a decent way to go? Does that limit it too much? So it's been a tricky one because.
What if the T-34 becomes wet? Yeah, that's an awesome question.
What we've realized most of all is that the stuff that we've done in previous incarnations isn't going to work well. I mentioned before, we've thought about maybe what you do is you make it, you don't play for places, for territory, because the war wasn't so much about that. You play for, maybe the Americans have kind of political points or something like this, and the VC have, I don't know, will to something. So what you're trying to do more there is represent that the Americans were just trying to slaughter the Vietnamese. Take this hill, kill any VC you can find up there, and then leave it again. It wasn't about taking and holding ground so much. How do we represent that? We don't know. I mean, the design is at
morale point.
It's at the 3 beer level.
Yeah. What about the webcam?
Go to Mellow Rush from at lunchtime. Get some beers out and think, how the hell are we going to do this?
Yeah, we're throwing things at the wall, just kind of seeing what sticks. But it's a way out.
No, it's that meta game as well, because for Red Orchestra 2 and Rising Storm, it was kind of more of a points-based system that was mainly determined by the amount of reinforcements that you had at the very end of the map.
Yeah, but now the system doesn't work anymore.
Some of those elements will work well with what we're trying to achieve for the multiplayer campaign in Vietnam.
All right, we only have time for one more question, but we have to start drawing things out of this magical hat. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm kind of new to Tripwire in general. A friend introduced me to Auto 2, and I really got into it. I'm really into World War II stuff and historical.
We like your friend.
Yeah.
Welcome, good friend.
And I was wondering, and I realize this is way down the line, like years compared to now, but what other conflict zones are you thinking of for, like, because one I've thought would be good for the series is maybe the Korean War.
Awesome question.
Back and forth, high individual counts, multiple faction groups like U.S., China, North Korea, South Korea.
So 2 of you.
Sold.
But to quote Alan, that's the 4 or 5 beer list.
Yeah,
throw us money and we'll think about it more.
We definitely want to revisit World War II at some point. We want to go back to it. We want to keep doing all the places we've done at some point, revisit them, have updated mechanics.
Yeah, I'd love to have a little battle on Gloucester Hill.
We also, like with Vietnam, we want to visit new places. We want to explore where else we can take the franchise, and it is something that we've had many
Let's fucking answer the question.
And some wacky ideas, so it's not just what you might expect.
Like the Great Emu War, which would totally win a $40,000 modding contest.
Well, we've got the Australians in now, so I mean, it has to be. It has to become.
Jesus.
Danger, emu sniper.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have water guns.
Emu with a machine gun.
The Great Water Fight.
Now,
moist hands. Hashtag
so
moist hands.
Once you have shiny new things, or at least
maybe just the HMS Hood versus the Bismarck.
We will gladly answer a couple more questions once we're outside, but they do kick us out of the room like immediately in 5 minutes. So I want to make sure you all have a chance to get something.
Okay, everyone got their tickets out?
So I'm going to start with what's right in front of me, which looks like a GeForce GTX 1060.
Put your ticket away, Alan.
Oh. Yes, Alan, put your ticket away. How late did you come?
Oh, wait, other people without tickets.
Yeah, who doesn't have a ticket,
If
honestly?
you don't have a ticket, come up here real quick.
Yep,
very quickly. We're going to be out of time.
3.
Run! There was 2 hits, and I went to the wrong one.
Alright. Your ticket.
Oh no.
Comes up.
There's a trip. I know it's that one.
Well, a simple answer.
What are they doing? Look at these people. Yeah, fucking the new DLC is gonna be the Waterworld DLC. With moist hands and wet tanks. What the fuck? Wet helicopters. What
Most
the
fascinating part of the stream so far.
Yeah.
Oh.
Watch me screw up carrying tickets, gentlemen. It's one of my many, many skills.
You grab that. Yeah. You grab one.
Yeah, we are running out of tickets. What server I'm playing? Right now I'm not playing any server.
Go.
Come on.
And from the magical hat, last 3 numbers or last 4 numbers, 2019. 2019.
There we go.
Great. Yeah, toss the hat down and let's get it. We need to get moving.
I don't want it. Yeah. Okay. You won. Congratulations.
No one was arguing. Take it.
Next number 2088.
This
There we
is
go.
an NVIDIA Shield, of which we have several.
First, there we go.
Thanks, NVIDIA.
Come on.
Toss that down. Next one is.
Was that the wanker in the white hat?
022 for a signed copy of the
No,
game.
it wasn't.
Signed copy.
2022.
It's a wet copy. You can get a wet copy, please.
There you go.
The wanker in the white hat, yeah, with the fucking.
2107.
What's that for?
Got it? All right. You win our last 1060.
Woo! Yep, you're good, man. 2004 for a shield.
It's probably the worst gift to get the
2004.
signed copy of the game.
Yeah.
I get to keep it.
My shield.
Going
Okay.
once, going twice.
We had a good question though, so he's alright.
Yeah, it was.
Your stuff.
Next, 2061.
Or is this the guy with the good question as well?
Congrats.
We just need
Two to go.
He's off screen, I can't see.
Okay, thanks.
I think I'm running a bit behind you.
2009.
And the last one is. Oh,
1996.
okay.
You get this picture. There you go.
Ice cold
That's
water.
all we have left.
All right.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you, ladies
Thanks,
and gentlemen,
everyone.
for joining us. For
Thank
anybody
you.
who tuned in,
Thanks for
thank you
coming.
for tuning in. We hope you liked what you saw.
Oh.
And for anybody here with more questions, we'll be glad to answer.
Can I
a few
get
of
your
them
Starbucks mug?
outside, wherever the enforcers tell us to be.
I don't know what to say. Any comments, Des, Dragon? I don't know what the fuck that was.
I don't know. It's
I
that's-
like the
that's sort of
question,
what I was expecting.
but I like the porting. I like what they talked about, like actually porting games across. Like they talked about porting World War II stuff across. That would be nice. So you imagine you could get an update, like you could actually get a new Red Orchestra. It would just be the old one, but just in a new, just in a new skin. That wouldn't be bad, would it? I don't know. Better than nothing. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, of course, the best announcement was the fucking wet hands. I don't know what we should have done without the fucking wet hands. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I bet the fucking stream was the comments over here was like fucking loving wet hands. Jesus
No,
Christ.
they didn't really mention it from what I could see. I wasn't
No.
really looking at it.
No, yeah, but so much. Thank you so much, Tess.
No
Oh yeah, Dragon. We really like the Korean version there. That was awesome. You know, that would be a perfect scenario for them to go for. I would have so hoped they would have gone for Korea instead of this Vietnam.
Vietnam's a lot more in memory though.
Yeah, but it's because they have to sell it to the Americans.
Yeah.
When they have to sell things to the Americans, it has to be something the Americans understand. And the Americans don't understand Korea, they understand Vietnam, and that's just a shame. But yeah, I don't know.
Fancy jumping in a server?
No, I need to go to bed. I'm totally shattered. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I think that's it for me and Tess. So yeah, you guys have a nice evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Leave a comment down below if you like this stuff, and I'm gonna just release the video so you can watch it later. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it, and see you all in the next one. Bye bye. Let's turn this off. Have a nice night.